What's up, Graysonreport? Can you hear me? I had to borrow a laptop from my friend at work. They were kind enough to let me borrow one. Looks like everything's working so far. If you could hear me, that would be even wonderful. I'm pretty sure you could see. I could see that you could see me. What's up, Cheryl? But this is just a temporary fix, but hopefully it will work. What is up, Tammy, Carol, Dusty, Emily Parkinson, Bernadette in the house? What is up? Nerd Report in the house. Bernadette, thank you for being a member of the Wolfpack for 23 months. Hearts for Bernadette. I can't believe it's already been that long. Dang. How's everyone doing? Denny Rose, what is up? Julianne, what is up? How's everyone doing while we wait for people to trickle in? Did anyone see any cool movies? Horror movies? I did notice that Talk to Me, the movie I've been wanting to see like forever, is on Netflix. So if you guys want to see Talk to Me, it is on Netflix. I had a chance to see it. They did release the trailer, I believe, yesterday for the sequel, Bring Me Back. I don't know, honestly, what more they could do with that film, honestly, in a second one. It is a supernatural type of movie. I guess it's like a group of, I want to say, high schoolers. One of their friends has like this hand, like a porcelain hand that's allegedly supposed to be like a hand of someone who could see the dead. It's supposed to be a real hand that's like in the porcelain. So when you you light a candle, it's kind of, I feel like it's like doing like a seance type thing. You light a candle, you hold the hand, say, talk to me, and then you see the dead. And then you go, let me in. And then they actually let the freak. All right, guys, can you see me? Okay, you can. I don't know, my freaking thing clicked off. So I might have some bugs, so sorry about that. Thank you, Cheryl, for being a member of the Wolfpack for 7 months. Hearts for Cheryl. So stay on if I flicker on and off, because that's probably going to happen. I don't know what happened. It said I lost connection to the internet or something. But anyways, so it's like a possession thing where they allow the spirit to go into them, and they're like laughing and having a thing like it's a normal thing to do. And the whole throughout the entire movie, like the hand looked cool. Don't get me wrong, I like that part about it, but like, who would think letting a spirit enter your body is a cool thing? They were acting like it was something you do every day. Like, I am not kidding you. Like, you walking down the street, like allowing a spirit that we don't even know if it's good or bad into your body to use you. And they were acting like it was the thing to do. And that was the one thing I had an issue with the movie, is that, I'm not going to give it away, but an issue with the movie is that these high schoolers were letting these spirits in them, and it was like a cool thing to them. Like I feel like most people would think that's a bad idea. But I mean, if you do want to see it, it is on Netflix. I don't want to give too much away. The ending kind of sucked for me. I'll leave it like that. But the hand thing was cool. The idea was cool. Nerd Report goes, those are all my toys in the back. No, it's not. And as always, Carol found Skeleduck already, but Skeleduck is somewhere in this background. I kind of made it easy. I didn't make it too hard. But if you guys don't know who Skeleduck is, he is in my upper right-hand corner, might be your upper left-hand corner. That is what he looks like. And I hide him in my background now that I can. And it's not the one that's right next to the blue peep. That's not him. That is his brother that goes to the gym. Arnold Duck. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't named him, so I don't know. But that is what he looks like. Just remind me by the end of the stream, and I will reveal his location. Pink Power Ranger, what is up? And then Gary is here. I just realized one of my Squid Game dudes is leaning. I have to fix that. Speaking of movies, before we get into the nitty-gritty of Shadow People, The Monkey has a digital release. That is the movie that is based on a Stephen King short story, if I'm not mistaken. I am not paying $60 for a membership to Ford's. F off. No, I'm just kidding. I guess it's a horror comedy. The Monkey gets a digital streaming release. I wouldn't mind having that monkey in my background. That'd be so cool. The Monkey, a hit horror comedy from long-legged filmmaker Osgood Perkins, is apparently coming soon to digital streaming. Rated R, The Monkey was released in theaters on February 21st. The log line for The Monkey reads, when twin brothers find a mysterious wind-up monkey, a series of outrageous deaths tear their family apart. 25 years later, the monkey begins a new killing spree, forcing the estranged brothers to confront the cursed toy. Directed by Perkins, who is the son of Anthony Perkins, who was in the in Psycho. The Monkey stars Theo James, who played 4 in the Divergent series as twin brothers Hal and Bill. Tatiana Maslany, She-Hulk, Orphan Black as the twins' mother. Lois and Elijah Wood, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Yellow Jackets as Ted, who's married to Hal's ex-wife. Christian Convery plays the young versions of Hal and Bill, while Colin O'Brien plays Bill's estranged son, Petey. Perkins, who adapted the screenplay from Stephen King's short story of the same name, also stars in The Monkey as Uncle Chip. So he's doing one of those M. Night Shyamalan thing where you always watch an M. Night Shyamalan film to see where he will appear. According to when to stream, The Monkey is expected to be released on digital streaming via Prime Video on demand tomorrow, Friday, April 4th. So if you guys are one of those people that like to buy video on demand, there you go. I usually wait for a movie to come on a streaming service that I'm already paying for. There is a rare occasion that I will buy video on demand. Just keep in mind that if that platform loses the license, even if you paid for that movie, you will lose the movie. So it's kind of, in a way, I know digital is more convenient because you could just go to the platform, the app, and then play it wherever you're at. But sometimes the physical copy is better. Bernadette goes, I wonder if they could make a monkey like that in a REM. That would be so cool. And when a spirit comes in, it starts banging the drums. That would be so cool. That'd be so freaky, though, at the same time. D-Dice goes, I need to have my parents watch this. They have a story regarding a wind-up monkey. I've seen that monkey in other things, and I've always thought it was cool, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to get one for my studio background. Emily goes, I already pay for enough streaming services. I'll wait. Yeah, that's kind of how I am. I already have Netflix, Shudder, Max, so I kind of just wait for it to come on one of those. Why pay extra? Unless, like I said, unless it's something I really am itching to watch, I will do that. As I was saying when I was talking about Talk to Me, which again is on Netflix for those of you that have Netflix, um, and looking for something horrorish to watch for this weekend, check it out. But Bring Her Back, the trailer has dropped. I did not watch the trailer. I kind of stay away from horror trailers every once in a while. Talk to Me directors aim to shake your soul with new possession movie. I don't know how much they could do, like I said earlier, with this. I feel like what you saw in the first movie is kind of the gist of it. I don't think you can elaborate on it. It is a possession film. I mean, there's not much you could do with a possession film besides making things freakier, I guess, and scarier. But the Karen Show. Hello, Lisa. Just got here. I see the duck. Usually I can't. Karen, I actually put him in an easy spot this time. Karen, thank you for that super chat. Hearts for Karen. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. So A24 has actually been on a roll. I've liked a lot of the movies that have come out of A24. Has released the official trailer for Bring Her Back, the hotly anticipated new horror movie from Danny and Michael Filippo, the directors of A24 horror hit Talk to Me. It took forever. Talk to Me came out in 2022, and it just barely came. I mean, it was on a streaming service, but it was on Stars. Because it would tell me it was on Hulu, but it was actually on Stars, and he had to pay extra for it. But it's funny on a streaming service I have. After 3 years, Sally Hawkins, Billy Barrett, Sora Wong, Jonah Wren Phillips, and Sally Ann Upton star in Bring Her Back, which A24 will release in theaters on May 30th, 2025. A24 is describing the upcoming horror movie as a soul-shaking possession horror that cannot be unseen. Get a taste by watching the official trailer when you get a chance. We were in the middle of writing Bring Her Back. Danny Filippo shared during a preview event that BD attended this past Friday, and my cousin lost her 2-year-old, and we were in the hospital, and I was just seeing her on the bed holding this kid, and the family were all around him, and they were holding his feet and his hands, his head, and his arms, and eventually over time everyone let him go, and my cousin was the last one to let him go. Horror is a fun way to look at dark things like that, Danny added, like the idea of her never being okay ever again after that. That was an inspiration point, how far she would go, to heal herself from it, and the idea of never-ending grief cycle to terrifying to me, and seeing raw grief like that is terrifying. Talk to Me was a huge hit for A24 in 2023. The film, I believe it's showing when I Google it shows me 2022, but it might have been released in 2023. The film scaring up 92 million at the worldwide box office and earning the Filippo, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. I apologize in advance if I'm butchering your guys' name. Brothers rave at reviews for their future debut. Danny and Michael Filippo will return to direct Talk to Me too. And yes, there's going to be another one. And I saw that and I'm like, what? For A24, the Australian duo got their start with the popular YouTube channel Raka Raka, launched back in 2013. When you get a chance, check out the trailer for Bring Her Back. Like I said, I don't know how much you could do with a possession movie. I mean, I guess there's different rabbit holes. You could do different takes on it, but I feel like the first one kind of just, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but I kind of feel like, yeah. The Carriage Show goes, I watched a movie called Don't Suck, comedy Jamie Kennedy from the Scream movies and Matt Rife vampire movie. I liked it. Oh, super cool. And if you guys haven't had a chance, check out the Karen Show. She does awesome stuff over there. Subscribe to her as well. D Nice goes, talk to me, tell me your name, you black. I'm kind of looking for originality when it comes to horror movies, so I'm hoping I mean, I feel like once you see one possession movie, they're kind of the same. Talk to Me was a little different. It wasn't like your typical possession movie because usually with the possession movies that I've seen, it's usually like an unsuspecting person and they get possessed and they bring in the priest, kind of like the Exorcist type of ones. Talk to Me was a little different. But like I said, the issue that I had with Talk to Me was like these high schoolers thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, you guys don't realize that letting a spirit inside you is like opening up a bunch of doors. And you don't even know if these spirits are good or not. Like I would never let anything come inside me because that affects you. It's like, but I mean, it is a movie, so most people don't think that. Also, they did release they released new images for 28 years later, 28 weeks later, 28 days later. This is what got me into zombies. I wasn't a big zombie fan until this movie. I am looking awesomely to this. I cannot wait for June. June can't come any sooner, and I usually hate June because of summer. But I am looking forward to this movie. 28 years later, new images from infection sequel spread the disease. Allegedly, what the person pictured here is not Cillian Murphy. Even though it does look like him, they're saying it isn't. Sony was on hand at CinemaCon last night. I forgot CinemaCon is this week. Last night to offer up some new footage for 28 years later. But while that footage hasn't made its way online, we do have some new images today. The long-awaited sequel to 28 days later and 28 weeks later puts Danny Boyle back in the director chair with Alex Garland scripting. Check out the new images and expect more soon. And once again, this is not Cillian Murphy in the above shot, but Murphy is expected to return to the franchise in this new trilogy. 28 years later will be unleashed in theaters on June 20th with the second installment in the new trilogy of infectious tales already dated for theatrical release on January 16th of 2026. Wow, that's not a big gap between the two. That's actually kind of cool. It's titled 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and it's directed by Nia DaCosta. Candyman, I don't know. I don't have high that Candyman, I'm sorry, I did not like. It's the newer Candyman. It's not the Candyman with Tony Todd. It is a newer one. I did not like it. I don't even remember it. That's how much I didn't like it. I don't want to remember it. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I don't think I'll ever revisit it. And 28 years later, it's been almost 3 decades since the rage virus escaped a biological weapons laboratory and now still in ruthlessly enforced quarantine. Some have found ways to exist amidst the infected. One such group of survivors lives on a small island connected to the mainland by a single heavily defended causeway. When one of the groups leaves the island on a mission into the dark heart of the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors that have mutated not only the infected, but other survivors as well. The horror sequels cast include Jack O'Connell, Jodie Comer, Aaron Tyler Johnson, Alfie Williams, and Ralph Fiennes. And here are some of the images. I mean, some of these we kind of already seen in the trailer. Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes. He also has a brother, Joseph Fiennes. Who's excited for 28 years later? Emily, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Welcome, KS. Words are weapons. Use them wisely. Dragon Mad Angel. It's still me, Kenya, to the Wolfpack hearts for all the new Wolfpack members. And Emily, what is up, Hug? How's it going? Karen from the Karen Show is asking, did you ever see a movie called Hush, a deaf and mute writer who... Yes, I have seen that. A deaf and mute writer who retreats to a secluded house in the woods. One night, she is terrorized by a mass killer who breaks into her home. Yes, I have seen that one. Um, I mean, it's kind of an interesting movie. It did get some good reviews. I think it was on Netflix at one point. I don't know if it still is. Um, it is kind of spooky. It's kind of where, I mean, you've got the death woman in the house by herself kind of thing. So it is kind of cool to watch. So I've got this little intro for shadow people. You wake up in the middle of the night. You can't move, can't scream. And in the corner of your room, something's standing there. A dark figure, no face, no eyes, just watching. Some call them ghosts. Others say it's sleep paralysis. But what if there's something else entirely? Tonight, we're diving into one of the most terrifying unexplained phenomenon ever reported. Dun, dun, dun! Shadow people! So I have not seen a shadow people, but I have seen shadow. I mean, I guess I have. Never mind, I lie. I have seen shadow people. I've seen things at the corner of my eye. I've seen, I think it's mostly like, I feel like I've seen more animals, like shadow animals, than like things, like small things, not like big people. In my house, I've seen them. I've seen stuff in Lewis's house, like shadows. I could have sworn like a cat walked by me and there was nothing there. I've seen. I'm coming home and I'm closing my door and I could have sworn I saw, because I used to own a black cat. His name was Travis, and I could have sworn I saw him. And I was like, how could I have seen him? He passed away. You know what I mean? Like a while ago. And I had him for a very long time. Um, But what are they? And I know when we watch these paranormal shows, they also say shadow people. A lot of times they say they've seen shadows in the corner. Um, Dusty goes, I've gotten sleep paralysis, but never seen a shadow person. I think I've had sleep paralysis maybe for a second, like where I wake up and I'm screaming and you're kind of still screaming and while you wake up and you kind of can't move. I've had that happen to me. D Nice goes, I've been seeing more shadows lately, so I'm trying to stay positive. Heather, whatever, what is up? Emily Parkinson goes, not many movies scare me anymore, but the original When a Stranger Calls freaks me out. I'm the same way. Not many horror movies scare me, but I don't watch them to get scared. I watch them because I like them. Hug goes, I feel like I used to see shadow people when I was very young, like up to the age of 7 or 8 years old, peering around doors and in my peripheral vision. Dusty goes, yes, several times for me. Or I'll walk and in the corner of my eye, like, because I have this long hallway from my bedroom, and I could have sworn I've seen something type of thing. I've had that happen to me. I've never actually had an experience where I've seen things like knocked off the wall, like things moving or hearing footsteps. I've unfortunately had knocks on the wall. I've had that happen. I've heard 3 knocks on the wall. And what I've heard about 3 knocks is it's a signal for the Holy Trinity or something like that. If you hear 3 knocks, and I've heard 3 knocks, luckily at night I do lock my door to my bedroom when I sleep. And I am not going to open the door if I hear 3 knocks. Oh, hell no. Dusty goes, but I have put asleep. Oh, I have a dream catcher above my bed too as well. I've had it there for years. I've never really had major nightmares since I've put it up there. Maybe every once in a while I'll wake up I used to have dreams where zombies were chasing me. I think it was the time where I was watching too many zombie films. Bernadette goes, I saw the shadow cat my roommate saw just last week. Thought it was my cat. Went to bend down to pet her, and nope, nothing there. That's what I've seen. Like I said earlier, I've seen mostly like small shadows. Maybe every once in a while in the corner of my eye, I could have sworn like I've seen a silhouette of something, and then I look and there's nothing there. And I'm like, what the heck? I swear to God, I saw something. Heather, whatever goes right, don't bother knocking because you'll let the bear in. Carol goes, I can make dream catchers. It's just another hobby I do. That's super cool. Actually, Carol, I like a lot of the stuff that you do. I think it's pretty cool. But what are they? I know scientifically, the scientists are going to say it's something to do with your sleep. It's like with the Hat Man, how they feel like it's due to sleep paralysis and not something paranormal. But I feel like shadow people or seeing shadows can be paranormal, in my opinion. Denny goes, after my grandmother died, I heard her walking around the house with her cane. We could not see her, but we heard her. That is crazy. I've never had that happen. I've had hold on, let me put this away. I've had where I've heard my name. I'd be sitting on the couch and I would hear someone call my name and I'd be like, "What?" And they're like, "It's not me." I've had that happen. I've had a roommate. I know I've told the story a while ago, but I had a roommate years ago. I don't when I had roommates. Um they came out so freaked out because they were in the front of the house and they were like, I swear to God, someone came in, we heard the door opening and we assumed it was you. And I was like, no, I didn't go in there. And then they go, when we went to the bathroom, the cold water was off or something like that. They were so freaked out, they left like a week later. And I swear to God, it wasn't me or anybody because I was in the front of the house. And I was like, holy crap, that is crazy. They're like, we heard the door open and we just assumed it was you. And then when we went into the bathroom, like the water was shut off. And I was like, holy crap, no, I did not. And I swear to God. And I've heard, I've had, experiences where I've had it happen twice. And it was when I was it was right out of high school. My parents had gone, I forgot where they went. They went somewhere and I was here by myself for a couple of days. And I heard there's bars on my house. I don't know why my dad put bars on the house. It was kind of around the time the Night Stalker. If you guys aren't familiar with the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, he did kill 2 people in the city that I live in, but it's on the other side. And it was about that time my dad did put the bars on the house. So I'm kind of putting 2 to 2 together, guessing it was from that. And I also do know the neighbors were robbed. I can remember something around that time. Um, so I remember being here by myself. I liked being by myself. It was right out of high school. So I think my parents went somewhere. I don't remember where they went on a trip, a weekend trip. So I was here by myself. And I was in the one room and I hear scratching on the bars, like a banging, like scratching or banging in the room because there's a room here and then the room I was in was right here. They both have windows, right? So the window I heard was scratching like this or banging. Scared the out of me because I'm here by myself. I said, I freaking locked my door. I did not come out of my room till morning. I did not. I had to pee so bad. I did not come out. I was so scared. Did not tell anybody. But that's what I heard. It was like someone was trying to break in. Like there was a banging on the door. Scared, like I said, scared the crap out of me. Didn't come out. I was like, okay, if someone's going to break in the house, they can take whatever they want. I'm going to hide in here. Turned off all my lights, locked the door. Didn't hear anything after that. When I woke up in the morning, everything was still here. The window was still intact. And so life went on. I was like, what? I don't know what the hell that was. Something was trying to get in. I don't want to know what it was. So, like a couple years later, I am now in that other room because I moved rooms. And I think I'm here by myself again, but I don't know for what reason. Same thing happened, but it was the opposite window. It was banging on my old room window. The same exact thing. And I'm like, I am not one of those people in a horror movie that's going to open the door and go look. Because, you know, in a horror movie, you're like, don't open the door. But they always open the door. Or even when you're watching TikToks. And I don't give credit to TikToks, but even when they're watching TikToks, because they like to add things anyway, so I don't give, but like just plain videos, people are opening the doors. And you're like, why are you opening the door if you see that crap? Don't open the door. Same thing happened. The banging on the window. I said, all right, if someone's breaking in, I'm locking the doors. I am not coming out. I'll wait till morning. Same thing again. Everything was in its place. There was nothing missing. Window was intact. I don't know what that was. That hasn't happened since. I don't know if it was something looking for me and trying to come in, like, you know, paranormal wise or what. I scared the crap out of me. But that was something that happened. And that scared the crap out of me. But I've never and I've had like vivid dreams, but I've never seen something like move or heard footsteps because I know, or a door open. I've never had that type of paranormal experience. But I do believe that shadow people can be paranormal, not what they, I mean, it probably, there are the points, scientifically, there are the points that could be plausible to it, but I do believe that shadow people are a paranormal entity. Bernadette's asking question, have you ever seen a white mist? I did at my job in the basement last year. The basement used to be the coroner's place. No, I have not. Allie Do goes, I have Senor Glock. I mean, I didn't have that, even though I don't have that. But my thing was, I'm gonna turn off all the lights and lock my door. Heather, whatever goes, I first heard of shadow people when I was waiting for my oldest son dropping off his first date from a movie I took them to. I was in a dark area and listening to Coast to Coast, and I'm sure I looked. Denny Rose goes, I have shadow people come. We have people wearing a white robe with red cord at the waist, but can't see the face. We get white orbs. I do get orbs in this room a lot of times. A lot of times. And it could be, it's weird because I'll walk in to grab something. Because I'll turn the camera off. I'll walk in to grab something, turn the camera back on, and not in 5 minutes, there's an orb crossing the thing. And I'm like, holy crap, I was just in there. Or in the middle of the night, I'll see an orb. Or I'll see several orbs. This used to be my dad's office, so I'm thinking it might be him. But I'm not sure who or what it could be. I had a camera in my room. I have a camera in my room, but it's not activated, like it's not on, but it went off one time. And I'm like, but at the time it went off, I didn't think anything of it. I had forgotten that it wasn't activated until later. There were orbs in my room, and I was like, what? I have orbs in my room now too? And I'm like, and then I realized the camera wasn't activated. Like it went off. It wasn't on motion activated at all. It's on, but it's, I don't have it on. You know what I mean? Like it's connected to my, module, but it's not on for motion detected. And it just went on by itself one day. And I'm like, what the hell? Bernadette goes, I just like to think about white mist as a ghost farting. Emily goes, about the typical white girl in movies. I'm not going to go investigate, not opening the doors. I've got a weapon and I'm going to hide right where I'm at and waiting for whatever it is. That's kind of what I do. I let whatever it is do its thing. I think now though that I'm older, I do go look. Unless there's 3 knocks, I do not open. Denny goes, my grandfather passed away in 1985, and when I have trouble sleeping, too stressed, he visits. I can hear him breathe. Oh, wow, that's super cool. I've been told, I don't know how true this is my grandfather kind of watches over me. He did pass away 6 years before I was born, so I never met him. I always thought, as a kid, I always thought it was a memory of him taking me to Disneyland, and he was always dressed up in 50s garb, and we were in an old 50s, like, Ford coupe, and he would be driving me on the freeway, taking me to Disneyland. Um, and I always thought that was a memory because I had no clue, when my grandfather had passed at that point. Because I had parents that didn't really tell me much when it came to that kind of stuff, so I kind of figured stuff out on my own, like um by just when they would talk about stuff and stuff like that. I didn't know when he passed until my grandmother had passed. Um and she was buried right next to him, and I saw his headstone, and I was like, he passed away 6 years before I was born. What? Then why do I have so, and I have been told that he does watch over me, and he's been watching over me this whole time. His picture is in this room, as well as my grandmother's picture. So I don't know who it could be that's here, but um I've had weird dreams a lot of times. But shadow people, paranormal beings that lurk in the dark corners, or the product of sleep deprivation. I mean, like I said, the scientific reasonings for it is plausible. If you're sleep deprived, you'll definitely see things. Um, your mind will play tricks on you. I know when I'm sleep deprived, I've never been like super sleep deprived, but I don't get enough sleep. It triggers everything else. Like my anxiety gets worse. Um, like other things like that. So I try to get sleep. I don't function properly when I'm sleep deprived, so I get it. And I don't know how some of the nurses do it, or anyone, not just the nurses, but anyone that works graveyard shift. I don't know how they do it. I um I don't. There's some people that like working graveyard shift, but I did it for a couple of years, and then I call it, when I became a day walker and started working during the day, I saw a difference between mood wise, between how I was working nights and how I was working days, and there was a big difference. I will never go back, but I do commend people for doing it. It's just not for me. Heather, whatever goes, I had sleep deprivation from last night, worried about my oldest in another state, ate a bunch of carbs. Nerd Report goes, thanks for supporting Lisa, everyone. Heather, whatever goes, my parents got bars on the windows too. At the time, it seemed weird, but they had been broken into. Now I'm glad my mom has them. I mean, it's cool. It's a cool thing because I could leave my windows open and not really worry about it. Danny Rose goes, I see things even when I'm not sleep deprived. Julianne goes, I worked nights for 10 plus years as an RN, saw some really unusual things. I do commend, Julie, I commend you for doing that, honestly. I feel like it's rough. Don't get me wrong, there are people that love doing it, but I can imagine there's some people that it is rough because you are working on an opposite schedule of everyone else. So, it's just something I can't do anymore. I guess it was cool at the time, but right now, no. When I'm worried about things, I don't sleep well at all too. Like I'm up all night tossing and turning. So shadow people are dark entities that have reportedly been spotted in dim rooms in abandoned buildings around the world. But there are several scientific explanations for the existence. Of course, there's always going to be a scientific explanation. So we're going to be Dana Scully for a second. Because Dana Scully in the X-Files, she was the one that had to have a scientific reasoning for everything. Mulder was the true believer. Um, Even after all she's seen, she was still kind of questioning things. And even Mulder had mentioned that, like, after all the things, why can't you believe? After all the things you've seen, why can't you believe? It's probably one of my favorite lines he says to Scully. Most people have at some point seen something vaguely person shaped lurking in the dark. Perhaps it's just a shirt hung on the back of a door or a stuffed animal propped up in the corner. Most of the time, that's all it amounts to, a harmless, inanimate object, but not always. Those who've experienced sleep paralysis, for instance, might see something more sinister. In some cases, it's a strange creature sitting on their chest, holding them down. Other times, it's the Hat Man, a featureless shadow figure sporting a wide brim hat. I know the Hat Man is mentioned a lot and I've talked about him too as well. He's mentioned a lot in a lot of videos that I've seen, or if I'm even or documentaries, he is mentioned a lot of times, and a lot of paranormal ones, not just not the scientific ones, but the paranormal ones. They do mention the Hat Man. Science has linked the phenomenon to various sleep and psychiatric disorders, as well as the abuse of drugs like Benadryl, but paranormal enthusiasts in several world religions have another name for entities like the Hat Man: shadow people. There's no singular lore or history that defies shadow people. Some have linked them to the Islamic jinn, some to the Choctaw Nalusa Cheeto, and others claim they are extra dimensional beings from another universe entirely. Which they also, there's some people who think aliens are interdimensional beings. No one is quite sure what the shadow beings want. They have been described as both malicious and helpful, but most people, they appear to be neutral observers, making their presence all the more mysterious. It's like a lot of times when I hear about shadow people, um, that's what they're, shadows. They really don't do anything. Um, they kind of just, they're in the corners or the corner of your eyes. Um, or you may see one walk by you, stuff like that. But I've never really seen, I mean, obviously the movies exaggerate this and the shadow person is kind of grabbing you and stuff like that. But um and even the ones I've seen myself personally, that's exactly what they are. It's a shadow that's in the passing by, or as soon as you look, it disappears, type of thing. So, what are the shadow people? Are they really lurking on the edges of human perception, or is there a more plausible explanation for the widespread encounters people claim to have had with them? Experience with shadow people reported online. Of course, online social media, there's a bunch of people who want to be social media famous. So a lot of times I don't believe the videos when I see them. They're cool to watch. Don't get me wrong, but because of technology, it's super hard for me to um believe in those things and believe in the videos that I see the pictures. And I feel bad, maybe this person is actually posting this video because they actually saw that thing and that was actually happening when they were recording it. I do feel bad. I do feel bad um for that person that's sincerely being truthful about what they're seeing, but there's other people that ruined it for them. So everyone thinks it's like, they're going to be skeptical about it. Poke around long enough and you'll find hundreds upon hundreds of people sharing their alleged encounters with shadow people on the internet. One recent Reddit thread, Our Paranormal alone, has hundreds of replies discussing the nature of these mysterious beings. I asked some spirits that I work with, and they said shadow people are almost always harmless, but they feed on fear. One user who goes by Ponwis wrote, they don't attempt to cause the fear, but their presence when seen does have the effect on most people. I do know watching like these ghost shows, they tend to mention that if you have a reaction, um, the fear thing, or if you're feeling nervous about something, that's kind of like a way to attract um an entity toward you, like maybe to get like activity. I don't know how true that is, but I've seen that. But I feel like maybe there's some truth to it, because if you're feeling anxious, you're building and you're feeling anxious, you're feeling kind of fearful, you're feeling unsure about yourself. And I feel like entities do need energy to appear or to do anything. So I feel like that your fear could be like a potential energy source. So it kind of makes sense to me because it's something like after, especially when you have a lot of anxiety, like after, like at the end of the day, you're like exhausted. So I feel like that is something that could cause a lot of energy and a spirit could feed off of it. Users debated whether the shadow people were indeed trying to be harmful or if they could even be helpful beings. Theories in the thread range from other dimensional beings to jinn. Every time I read about jinn, I think of The Witcher. Invisible spirits mentioned in Islamic and pre Islamic mythology, not the new season that's coming out because I don't know if I'm going to watch it. Similar accounts and debates can be found all across the web. A woman named Sarah Bethany, for instance, shared her experience on a Hub Pages post. Growing up in my Michigan home, I began seeing shadow people at a young age. I didn't know the term shadow people back then, but I knew that I was seeing something spooky. I would often be sitting in our living room and see something standing at the top of our staircase, but when I would look, there was no one there. I've always had a feeling of being watched, especially upstairs. Additional users commented here as well, recounting similar experiences. Some wrote about the Hat Man. Others said that they saw shadow people while astral projecting, an esoteric term used to describe an intentional out-of-body experience in the astral plane. And some even claim to have been attacked by shadow people with some regularity. One common theory is the shadow people are, in fact, the astral forms of those projecting their consciousness. Real or not, it's clear that seeing shadow people is not uncommon. In fact, the experience is widespread enough that it has attracted attention from prominent figures in the field of the paranormal and science alike. However, these two camps have often widely contrasting interpretations of the phenomenon, which makes it difficult to reach a conclusive answer on what shadow people are. Heather, whatever goes, watch out for hitchhikers. Oh, hell yeah. Don't pick up if you're driving alone in the middle of the night. I've seen too many movies. Do not pick up the hitchhiker, especially the Twilight Zone episode. Danny goes, might be why they don't stick around. Emily Parkinson's goes, there were a lot of weird things in my last house, the apartment I've been in for the last year. There wasn't anything until I almost died in December. Now there's weird sounds, footsteps, knocking. Usually, and I believe this, I don't know how true this is, but I do know if you're near death, that's when you do see things. So I do believe that, like maybe because you were in that position, it opened something. Because I do believe when you die, you do see your loved ones. I do believe that. I do believe that you can see things that you normally don't see. It's because I feel like you're in between worlds when you're at that point because you're still living, but at the same point you might die. So you're like in between. Dusty goes, when I worked the closing shift at the theater, I would get a bit paranoid when I had to walk up into the catwalks to shut off all the lights. Danny goes, I also see aura around people. Oh, that's super cool. Dusty goes, I'm not afraid of ghosts, but stories about others seeing them in the catwalks at the theater made me anxious. That will do it. I mean, a lot of times it has nothing to do with you may personally not be afraid of ghosts or anything like that, but if you hear a story about one and you happen to be in one, it makes you wonder, you know what I mean? Or in that area where they were talking about, like for Dusty, for instance, with the catwalks, it does make you a little anxious. It does make you, kind of like turn your head, be a little more, observant because you're like, okay, is what they're saying real? Bernadette goes, if someone actually picks up a hitchhiker, I hope they tell them what are the chances to serial killers in the same car, two serial killers in the same car, then laugh crazy. Oh my God, that'd be hilarious. And catch it on camera. Matthew goes, you don't want the one from Creepshow 2. Thanks for the ride, lady. I don't remember Creepshow 2. I have to revisit that one. Paranormal theories about what shadow people could be. Modern beliefs in shadow people was largely popularized by the late night talk show Coast to Coast, hosted by Art Bell. Bell first breached the topic in a 2001 interview with Harley Swift Deer Regan, aka Thunder Strikes, a man claiming to be a Native American elder, despite later being denounced by the Cherokee Nation for his claims. Shadow people were once again thrust into the spotlight later that same year when author Heidi Hollis published her book, The Secret War. Hollis delved further into shadow beings and likewise began to make regular appearances on Coast to Coast to speak about the subject. She theorized that shadow people were actually negative aliens who attacked humans and that they could be repelled by invoking the name of Jesus. Okay. Around the same time, so here's a picture of Heidi Hollis, who theorized that shadow people were actually negative aliens who attacked humans and that they could be repelled by invoking the name of Jesus. No. I mean, to each his own, but I really, no, I don't believe that theory at one bit. Around the same time, the subject of shadow people caught the attention of leading paranormal expert Rosemary Ellen Gully. Gully, who had published more than 50 books on the paranormal since she began researching the topic in 1983, also spoke in depth about shadow people in an interview with Psychology Today shortly after releasing her book about jinn in 2013. There were two major avenues, both involving shadow people, dark and menacing humanoids, I have been researching since 2004. She said when asked why she chose to focus on jinn for the book, again, when I think about jinn, The Witcher pops up with Yennefer. I already knew a bit about the jinn from earlier research in demonology. I noticed that many cases of persistent negativity hauntings involved shadow people, so I began probing for the true identity. In her research, Gully said she soon found that many people who reported seeing shadow people also claimed to have had some sort of experience with extraterrestrials. This led her to conclude that shadow people are a shape-shifted form taken by jinn. So here is a picture of Ellen Gully or Ghoulie. Jinn in the old lore were known to be shapeshifters, though they always had difficulty emulating human features with 100% accuracy. Often they retained animal-like legs and feet or misshapen heads. Some have even speculated that this could be the reason that the Hat Man is always seen wearing a hat. Gully, who convinced that the jinn she had been researching and shadow people were one and the same. I don't think they are, in my opinion. The jinn has a long-standing, deeply embedded and hidden presence among us, far greater than I anticipated in the early stages of my research. Gully said, we only see the tip of the iceberg. Also, their interference in human affairs is extensive as well. We are influenced and manipulated, some more than others. But scientists had already proved their own explanation for shadow people seen several years before Gully published her book, and he found their answer by total accident. Bernadette goes, maybe they are shadow spirits because they are shy. It could be. Maybe there isn't enough energy for them to transform too. You know what I mean? Diddy goes, I don't think aliens are scared of Jesus. I agree. They'll be like, who is this Jesus that you talk about? They don't even know who Jesus is. Julianne goes, I used to experience an active amount of activity, but after after it died, it decreased. It hasn't gone away, but the activity has decreased around me. Matthew goes, unless Jesus was an alien. True. True. So, scientific explanation for these mysterious beings. Because, like I said, there's always a scientific explanation to everything. A 2006 study from neurologist Olaf Blanc and his colleagues at the Brain Mind Institute of Lucerne, Switzerland, incidentally stumbled upon what could be one of the most plausible explanations for shadow people. While attempting to identify the source of a 23-year-old woman's epileptic seizures, they surgically implanted electrodes into various regions of her brain and applied a mild current. The stimulated part of her brain, called the left temporal temporoparietal junction, TPJ, and the woman suddenly said that she could feel the presence of someone behind her. She described the shadow as a man who was imitating her body posture and actions. At one point, she said the shadow man tried to take a test card from her. It was certainly an unexpected side effect, but the researchers noted at the time that it was similar to delusions observed in people with schizophrenia, who can often mistake their own bodies for someone else's. Like the woman involved here, schizophrenics also frequently have illusions that they are being followed, controlled, or manipulated by aliens. That's not to say everyone who has seen a shadow person is schizophrenic, though. As the study showed, there are other stimuli that can evoke the same feelings and sensations, including an electric current. In particular, the research suggested that anything that disrupted the function of the TPJ, which helps the brain understand sensory information, could result in these same sorts of illusions. Similarly, visions of shadow people, and the Hat Man in particular, have been linked to incidents of sleep paralysis, which typically occur while the brain is in the rapid eye movement REM stage of the sleep cycle. REM also. Oh, and they also, when I was talking about the Hat Man, they also linked it to Benadryl abuse. And I've taken Benadryl. I don't take Benadryl as much now because it doesn't work anymore. It never really worked on me. All I remembered with Benadryl is it knocked me out. But I have never seen Shadow or the Hat Man while taking Benadryl. REM also happens to be the stage in which people experience vivid dreams, anatonia, a temporary form of paralysis that prevents dreamers from failing about in their sleep. In the case of the Hat Man, it's likely that his presence is effectively a glitch in which the brain, still in REM, conjures the vision despite the dreamer now being half awake. I mean, it makes sense. The scientific stuff that they do say about it does make sense, but I do still believe that shadow people are spirits. I do truly believe that. It can't be ignored either that many reports of shadow people come from methamphetamine users, particularly after prolonged periods of sleep deprivation. In fact, the connection was known back in 1997 when the Phoenix News Times ran a story focusing on two women who were addicted to meth and kept their window blinds closed so that the shadow people can't see inside during the day. That is different, though, because they're on drugs. Drugs affect you. It affects like your makeup. It affects how you think. It affects how you see things. It affects how you move. So I feel like, yeah, obviously, if you are on a drug, it's going to cause you to see things sometimes. Um, that's a given. I feel like that's a given. Like that's automatically like even when you're drinking and you had a little too much, it causes you to have a slur speech. It causes you to lose your balance. I mean, yeah, obviously. You don't see shadow dogs or shadow birds or shadow cars. One interviewee said, you see shadow people standing in doorways, walking behind you, coming at you on the sidewalk. It's freaky, scary because it doesn't feel like you are hallucinating. While these studies could offer plausible explanations for shadow people, there are still those who maintain that shadow beings are paranormal entities. I believe I see both ends. Obviously, like I said, if you're on drugs, drugs affect everything. You are going to see things. Obviously, that's a plausible explanation. If you're sleep deprived, I mean, obviously, when you're sleep deprived, it causes other things, or if, like in my case, it causes my anxiety to get worse. So yeah, I see that as a scientific explanation to things. But I also say it is paranormal. I'm not saying. I also say it's a paranormal thing. Um, and if they are, then their true nature remains a mystery. I do think that they're paranormal, but the scientific side of it also makes sense to me too. I don't dismiss it. Um, but I mean, obviously, when you're looking at something paranormal, you're going to try to debunk it. So you are going to go through those. Were you sleep deprived? Have you had anything? Have you taken anything? I mean, obviously, you're going to try to debunk it to see the plot, the truth to it. Matthew goes, "This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?" Denny goes, "At this point, I don't have many living family members, so my house is like Grand Central Station for the living impaired." Heather, whatever goes, that's your brain saying just go for boring, skip the freaky. I have to. Heather, whatever goes, no melatonin for me. I get nightmares. I kind of have to take something. I take ashwagandha to help me sleep because I do have to. If not, I'm like wide awake. It doesn't matter how tired I am, I'm wide awake. I could be dead tired taking ashwagandha and then boom, I'll have the best sleep. I'll fall asleep eventually. But if I don't, I'm wide awake. It's weird. Julianne goes, "I died after I died. Sorry for getting attacked by my cat." No, that's okay, Julianne. Cats tend to do that. Boss Barbie, what's up? And it also, Heather, whatever goes, ashwagandha is good for you. It's also good when you have like really bad anxiety. So I kind of take it, kind of helps me calm down. Sometimes I do take a sleep gummy too on top of that because sometimes I'm wired. I don't know what it is. Lately I've just been taking the ashwagandha because I had to stop all my vitamins um before I had the minor surgery, so I didn't take anything for a week. So when I went back to taking them, um it had an effect. So I was like, okay, I can only take the one thing now for sleep because I woke up like super groggy. Um Bring in the peyote, Denny says. Denny goes, me neither. Benadryl does not make me see anything. It does help with my allergies and I sleep like a baby. It doesn't help me. Like I have to take a different for allergies. Just Benadryl doesn't do it. I remember I used to like take a bunch of them because it wasn't helping, but then I'd be dead tired from it. Dusty goes, falling asleep is not my problem. Staying asleep longer than 5 hours is difficult. I don't have that problem yet. I'm gonna knock on wood. Someday there might be if I'm worried, yeah, then I'm gonna be up. I'll get up and I'm like, ugh. Or I feel like I'm fighting with the sheets when I'm worried. And then eventually I do fall asleep. But I could stay asleep if I'm within my sleep because now I have like the body clock with my sleep schedule. So if I am within my sleep schedule, then I'm fine. I can almost sleep all the way through the night. If I'm off my sleep schedule, I'll wake up when my body wants to wake up. Because there are some days where I go off of it. Bernadette goes, my go-to movie to fall asleep is Silent Hill. I can't. If I fall asleep with the TV on, I end up waking up. So I can't do the TV thing. And I've done that before. And of course, you know me, I'm watching true crime docs or something. So I fall asleep while watching like Forensic Files, for example. And then I'll wake up. The husband found the body, and I'll be waking up for. I was like, "What the hell am I watching?" They used luminol to find the blood. And, like, you wake up at the most opportune time, and like I said, it happens to be like 48 hours or forensic files, so it's talking about a crime scene when I wake up. Then I fall back to sleep. I'll wake up again. Like with the TV, I can't like stay asleep, like have a sound sleep. Like I'll fall asleep, but I'll wake up. But I do have a sound machine, which I have to, which helps immensely. And if the power goes off, I'll wake up because my sound machine turns off. And I'm like, oh, the power went off. Diddy, I've tried chamomile and it does not work for me. But I feel like you have to want to drink tea before you go to bed. Don't get me wrong, I like tea, but I don't think I could do it like right before I go to bed. Like I know they do have sleep aids where you drink them, but I can't do that. Bernadette goes, I once fell asleep with the TV on YouTube and I dreamt about Sam and Colby like I was with them investigating. And I wake up and look and I'm like, oh, that's why they're. Carol goes, the chemo lets me sleep a little longer, but not much. I know with women because of the declining hormones, because when we do go through menopause, that does affect our sleep because everything hormones, you don't think that hormones control everything in your body. Everything. So if you have declining hormones, it affects everything, which sucks. And it doesn't affect just females. I believe it's male and females. If you have hormones, just if yeah, they suck. Julianne goes, if I drink tea at bedtime, I have to get up right after I fall asleep to pee. My thing is, I end up drinking water before I go to bed, and then I'll wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, ugh. But I still do it because sometimes when I get out of the shower, I'm thirsty, so I drink. Or I'm trying to get my water intake in before I go to bed. I'm like, oh my God, I have to get this water intake in. Like I have a goal of drinking so much water. And I'm behind, so I end up chugging the water. Emily Parkinson's goes, I have to have the TV on for sleep. I can fall asleep. Like I said, I can fall asleep with the TV on. I just can't stay asleep. Like even like today, I'm behind on my fluid intake. That happened, Carol. If I get up during the night, I'm up for hours afterwards. Sometimes I am too. It just depends. Sometimes, but not always. Luckily, I'm still sleeping pretty decent. And it also depends on how much caffeine I have. Like I've kind of cut back on that. Or I'll watch a horror movie, like I'll fall asleep during a horror movie and I'll wake up to the part where like the killer's going after the person and they're screaming. And I'll be like, "What the?" I'll be like waking up like, "What the hell am I watching?" All right, guys, I'm going to open it up for questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll give you a few minutes to search for Skeleduck, though Skeleduck is an easy spot, but I'll give you a few minutes. Carol's, it's like once my feet hit the floor, that's it. I'm up, can't help it. I think it could be just the way I try not to, you know what I mean, try to get up because sometimes I get what you're saying because sometimes it's like when you get up, it's like you're cued to be like, okay, let's get ready for the day. Let's get proactive about things. Like, so I try not to get out of bed, but sometimes you can't help it in the middle of the night. Diddy goes, that or you fall asleep watching a horror movie and you wake up because there's screaming. True. Like, you, because you know, on some of the climactic scenes, they have very loud music, so I'll wake up to that part. Bernadette goes, I think I see the pinche duck. All right, guys, Skeleduck. Drum roll. Skeleduck is right there. Oh, not that one. This one. Right there. Right where my finger is pointing. It's on my right hand, but it's probably on your left hand side of the screen. Right next to Larry the skeleton. And my Raggedy Ann doll. The smaller version of Annabelle. The original Annabelle. But he's right there. Right where my finger's pointed. I actually put him in an easy spot. I couldn't think of, I wasn't. Carol goes, Skelly's too easy. I know, I made it easy today. I was in a hurry to start the stream, so I just put him anywhere. Heather Runner goes, yeah, I mostly never find the duck. I put him in a really easy spot this time. Denny Rose goes, I need gray noise to sleep. I have a white noise machine. Best invention known to man. Because I used to have like a fan thing that I would turn on until I saw this white noise machine. Best thing. It helps me sleep. It drowns out all the noise around me so I don't wake up. Emily goes, my daughter and grandkids live with me, and if I already have the TV on, it drowns out their voices early in the morning. That's what my sound machine, my sound machine does. It drowns out all the noises, so I don't hear anything, so I don't wake up. And in the summertime, obviously, because it's hot, I have my fans on, so that helps too. And the bumps that go in through the night. Because I'll hear things walking on my roof, but I know because I have outside cats and raccoons and all that kind of stuff, so I know it's that. I never freak out when I hear things on the roof. Denny goes, I cut coffee completely. It was not easy, but I had to do it for health reasons, but I do have a coffee once in a blue moon. I cut him down to the caffeine. Like, I can't take too much caffeine anymore. And I got a Dutch Brothers because I don't normally order from Dutch Brothers, and it had 4 shots of espresso in it. Needless to say, I was wired the entire day. I was like this. I go, okay, next time when I get that, I'm going to cut the shots down. Carol goes, my TV is always on for noise. The downside of living on a busy street, I work nights, so the TV drowned out the traffic. Bernadette goes, when I finally actually get to sleep, my dang cat walks on my head to feed her treats. They tend to do that. Cats like to do that. All right, guys. Any last minute questions before I end this stream? right, guys. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Carol. I am going to end this stream here. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Grayson Report. I will see you on the next one, guys. Have a great rest of your week, a great weekend. Stay spooky, sweet nightmares. And I will see you on the next one. Good night, guys, and thank you.